future counselor, you always need to remember what are the rights and responsibilities of your clients and you as well. First one, we need to talk about the rights of your clients. So what are the rights of the clients? Letter A, right of informed consent. This right demands that clients be given enough information to make informed choices about entering or continuing the counselor or client relationship. When we say, what do you call this one? When we say informed consent, it is the process in which a healthcare provider educates a patient about the risk, benefits, and alternatives of a given procedure or intervention. Para sa case ng mga informed consent na to, for example, you are having the therapy itself na. Of course, sa mga therapy, may mga iba't ibang procedure na ginagawa dyan. So, before you go to that procedure, you need to inform the client. You need to have the informed consent signed by the client. Kung payag ba siya na gawin niya yung therapy na yon, kung payag ba siya kung gawin niya yung isang procedure. Okay? Next one, we have the minor's right. So in the Philippines, 18 and below are considered minor. So it is another important issue in minor's right to treatment. So included here would be issues concerning parental consent and confidentiality. If your client is a minor, you need to take first the parental consent. So, payag ba ang parent niya or ang guardian niya na gawin yung specific therapy, na gawin yung specific procedure, or gawin yung specific intervention? You always need to seek the parent or guardian consent, and you need to reassure to the guardian or parent the confidentiality of the given consent or of the given intervention. Okay? So, of course, in most cases, parental consent should be signed first before entering counseling. Bago pa magsimula ang lahat-lahat, dapat may pirma muna ang parent or si guardian concerning sa minor. Okay? Letter C, the right to a referral. What is the right to a referral? So, when a counselor believes he is not qualified to handle a case or feels that the type of duration of treatment is too limited, ang mangyayari, magkakaroon ng referral. So, when we say referral, for example, while having the counseling, nakita ni counselor na there is an underlying psychological disturbance. Okay? Ang mangyayari, there will be a referral to a registered psychologist, or kung hindi man registered psychologist, pwede rin namang registered psychiatrist. Okay? So, it is always the counselor's prerogative kung kaya ba niyang tapusin yung session or kailangan na niyang i-refer si client sa ibang professional. So, that is the rights of the client, right of informed consent, the minor's right, right to a referral, and number 2, the right to duty to warn and protect. So, there are 2 significant duties, responsibilities of all counselors. Letter A, the duty to protect other people from potentially dangerous clients. And letter B, the duty to protect clients from themselves. So, for this one, this is the hardest duty or responsibility ni client. Because you need to protect other people who are at risk. For example, there is this client na may suicidal tendency. So, you need to inform the parent about it. Okay? That is the duty to protect client from themselves or harming themselves. So yung letter A naman, the duty to protect other people from potentially dangerous clients. So, hindi kasi natin maiiwasan na there is a client na kayang manakit ng iba because they are out of their mind or they are mentally disturbed. So, as a counselor, it is your duty to protect other people from potentially, okay? When we say potentially, there is a risk na manakit siya ng iba. Okay? So, those are the rights of the clients. Now, let us move to the ethical principles and issues in counseling. So, since most of them are the same, the ethical principles and ethical issues, pag-iisahin na lang natin sila. Okay? Letter A, we have the beneficence. So, beneficence means a counselor must accept responsibility. So, when we say beneficence, as a counselor, we consider all valid treatment options and then rank them in order of preference. Okay? We tend to use beneficence in response to a specific situation, such as determining the best treatment for a patient. So, ano ba yung karapat-dapat na gamiting treatment para sa pasyente natin or para sa client natin? So, yun yung i-consider natin when it comes to beneficence. That's why you must accept the responsibility because you are the one who is going to choose the treatment or the intervention for your patient. Letter B, we have non-maleficence. So, non-maleficence and beneficence are always in a tie-up. So, kumbaga kambal lagi ito. So, non-maleficence naman is doing no harm. So, wala dapat masasaktan or wala dapat mangyayaring masama sa client mo. So, the counselor must avoid at all times any activities or situations with client that could cause a conflict of interest. So, anong ibig sabihin ni non-maleficence? So, when we say non-maleficence, that means we are safeguarding the patient. Okay? This is, for example, non-maleficence. This is for medical practice, no? If you see a patient collapse in a corridor, you have the duty to provide or seek medical attention to prevent injury. So, ganun ang gagawin mo. So, sa una pa lang, iisipin mo na kung ano yung makakapagpabuti sa client mo. That's why it is called to do no harm, non-maleficence. Now, let's talk about the respect for autonomy. So, for this one, we are encouraging clients' independent thinking. So, katulad na nabanggit ko kanina, there is always the ideals of democracy. So, as a client, he or she always have the freedom to choose. He is always choosing. Okay? So, hindi ikaw ang pipili para sa kanya. So, he have the autonomy and you need to respect that as a counselor. Next one, let's talk about justice. So, counselors' commitment to provide an equal and fair service to all clients. So, this is regardless of age, regardless of race, regardless of skin color, regardless of what crime have she done. Diba? So, there is always a fair treatment for all. So, that is what we call justice. So, walang mahirap, walang mayaman. Laging pantay-pantay. It is always an objectivity. So, to apply justice is to act in a fair manner as well. So, it is expected for us counselors that we are going to act in a non-discriminatory manner to individuals and groups. So, katulad na sinasabi ko kanina, we have the goal of objectivity. So, if we always think of objectivity, there will be a fair description for all. Letter E, we have fidelity, being honest with client. So, fidelity is a faithfulness to your client, whatever the cause or whatever he believe in. You can also demonstrate it by your continuous support and your continuous loyalty, and you always making your client at ease at all times, na wala siyang iniisip na what if mag-leak ang information ko. Diba? So, there is always a trust between you and the client. So, that is fidelity. So, below are ethical issues in which all who engage in any form of counseling must be aware of. Okay? So, regardless kung saan ka nagtatrabaho, regardless sa environment na meron ka, as long as you are doing the counseling, you must be aware of this. Number 1, social and personal relationship with clients. So, why do you need to take a look of this? So, it is a very delicate issue, is how social and personal relationships with the client should be combined. Kasi, may mga clients tayo na marami ng session sa atin. So, in that way, parang nagiging kaibigan mo na siya. Right? But, always remember that you are the counselor of that client. You cannot be friend with your client. So, the balance between a friendship and a therapeutic relationship is difficult to achieve. Because if you are already friends with your client, magiging subjective na yung mga decision na gagawin mo para sa kanya. Right? Hindi, mawawala na yung objectivity na sinasabi natin. Okay? So, you need to take a look of this. The social and personal relationship with your clients. Number 2, touching as part of the counseling relationship. So, some therapists are really concerned about the role of touching if it plays a part in therapy. Touching. When you say touching, there comes the, for example, hugging the person, tapping the back of the person, tapping the shoulder of that client. So, not all the time, you should comfort your client by touching or hugging. Okay? So, ito lang daw yung mga karampatang suggestion when to give the appropriate touch. So, number 1, when the counseling socially and emotionally immature clients. Okay? Letter B, counseling people in crisis, when giving emotional support, and when greeting a client at the beginning or end of a session. Okay? So, yun lang daw yung mga suggestions kung kailan mo ibibigay yung touch or hug sa isang client mo. Number 3, sexual contact with clients. Of course, sexual contact. It is the major ethical issues and rules are clear. Okay? All professional code of ethic has specific statements emphasizing that sexual contact with client is wrong and it violates the integrity of the counselor and client relationship. Kaya sa una pa lang, yung number 1 natin is social and personal relationship. Okay? If you have avoided this social and personal relationship, you can also avoid the sexual contact as well. Okay? Number 4, when you are dealing with suicidal clients, so dealing with suicidal clients is always a challenge. Of course, it is a challenge because there is always a suicidal tendency. Okay? So, kapag ganito yung mga situation, the counselor should take suicidal threats seriously. So, kapag sinabi niya na gusto ko na pong magpakamatay, parang ayoko na pong mabuhay. So, yun yung mga example ng mga suicidal client. So, yung iba kasi, minimistaken nila to as sinasabi nila na very dramatic lang siya. No. Kapag in the mere fact na sinabi niya yon, that means gusto niya talagang mangyari yun sa kanya. Okay? As much as possible, we should also refer this client to professional therapists like psychologist. Of course, if the psychologist is already handling this, they know how to they know the intervention for it. And last one, the confidentiality. Always remember the confidentiality, both legal and ethical issue. So the counselor should let the client know to the extent of confidentiality in the therapy. Okay, so dapat lagi nating pinaparamdam sa client natin na lahat ng nangyayari sa session, it is always confidential. Okay? Confidentiality can be broken when it comes to suicidal clients or when it comes to the client that can harm himself or others. So, dun lang po mabibreak si confidentiality kapag may tendency na sasaktan na niya ang sarili niya, magpapakamatay siya, or sasaktan niya yung ibang tao. Okay? Confidentiality is also bound to break the law when there is child abuse, abuse of the elderly, and danger to others. Okay? So, those are the ethical issues in which all of the counselors should be aware. Okay? So, I think that's it for our lesson. So, thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again on our next lesson. Have a good day!